What is going on, everyone? Jay Bryan here,
Here in Washington.
and we want to welcome you to the Attention Span Podcast. So, you all, this week is going to be really good because it's got a couple of things that have my attention. And Jared, of course, you can chime in on some things. So, number one is I've been recently thinking a lot about men in their 30s, and not in like a weird way, just how life seems to shift for men as they approach and go past their 30s. There are bodies of research out there that say that men's prime is 35 and up, and I can honestly say that for the average man, of course there are outliers, but I can honestly say that most average men that I know, including myself, we are have grown even more, especially in our 30s, as we approach 30 and hit 30 and kept going. So I'm 33 now. So definitely want to talk about that. And more specifically, more niche, I want to talk about goals regarding men in their 30s or approaching 30, late 20s.
Yes.
Jared, I know you're late 20s. So we'll talk about that. And I also want to discuss actually, what I want to get to first is the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing that's going on, the trial. I'm not sure if you've seen anything on that, Jared.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've seen things on both sides of this, and this is what has my attention. This the main thing going on in just mainstream media that has my attention is this. And I don't pay attention to a lot of stuff like that, not extensively. I got other stuff to do, but it's not like I can't notice it.
Right.
It's
Right.
not like I can't notice it. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Amber Heard was accused of abusing Johnny Depp, basically. Um, you know, I'm not.
So Amber Heard accused Johnny Depp of here. So here's the breakdown of it. Amber Heard accused Johnny Depp of abuse back in like 20, just during their whole relationship. And in 2018, she had an op-ed in the Washington Post. She wrote an article basically explaining that she's a survivor of domestic abuse. Because of that Washington Post article, Johnny Depp sued her for 50 million, and
Wow,
Amber Heard's countersuing him for 100 million for suing her. So that's basically where it's at right now.
got you. And I could have sworn I saw something about her, him accusing her of being abusive. Um,
Yeah,
I think that's a
and
part of it. I think they're accusing each other, kind of.
right as the
Um,
trial's going on, it's definitely he's been accusing her of abuse and stuff during the trial.
yeah, and my biggest thing with this is that a resolution may not. Okay, so the judge will give a resolution, but a final resolution, I don't know if the truth, I say that, may not ever come out. The full 100% unadulterated truth may never surface. However, there are a lot of facts that can point one way or another. So, with that, I don't know enough of the facts of each of their situations to say anything like one way or the other. My hope is that I hope the situation pans out as it's supposed to. That's all I can really hope for. From a distance. I don't know Johnny Depp. I don't know Amber Heard. I've seen them in movies. Johnny Depp, amazing actor. I've seen Amber Heard in movies too. She's a great actress. So hopefully, hopefully it pans out how it's supposed to. I can't give an opinion on that. I'm a big believer in, the what's done in the dark will come to the light. That's in my personal life. That's been a theme. I've tried to hide things before, and without me even trying, they came out to the light. And
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of that. And what about you, Jared?
Yeah, so just looking at the trial, I think it's definitely got some for both of them. You know what I'm saying? I
Or
think
there
just
wouldn't be a
looking
trial, probably, or not at least
right,
not this
right.
long.
And just looking at it, it looks like a lot of it, man. It's a lot of mob mentality against Amber Heard, in my personal opinion. Just paying attention to it, just putting my attention on it for long periods of time. Like I've noticed that, and not long periods of time, but I've watched it here and there, 20-minute clips, whatnot, and like I see that there is definitely like a mob mentality against Amber Heard. That's like, hey, this lady's guilty until proven innocent of making sure he lost his roles, making sure his life was ruined because of these accusations. And I'm of the belief that you should be innocent until proven guilty. And it's seeming like that the whole world has turned on Amber Heard for this. And I'm looking at it through the prism and scope of having a daughter. So I really have to look at it like, okay, if I had a daughter, do I think that it would be appropriate for her to level these accusations against somebody publicly if she really did go through those things? Yes. But I think at the same time, there should definitely be a trial. That's what a trial is for. And we should let things play out to see who's actually innocent. And just looking at it, man, like you said, there's something in it for both of them. And I think it has to play out before we really know who's telling the truth, because there's evidence that hasn't been presented yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I know there are listeners who, some of you are huge. One of your values is justice. So if a judge says, "Hey, this is it, this is it," I'm not that's not one of my main values. I do value justice, but not that high to where a judge is an end all. I know in the court of law they are, and I'm aware that if I went to court for something, whatever the judge says, that's in reality what's going to occur. You know, period. I know I'm in the real world, but just looking from my own personal belief system, which human beings do, my value system, I think that no matter what happens, is what's said in the trial, the pure truth will never be known. So that's just my opinion.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, it's been proven that judges later on in the day, their decisions are actually more catered towards the wrong way. So basically, what I'm saying is, by the time it's 12 o'clock, a judge, you only have a certain amount of decision making in a day in your tank,
Mhm.
and you can only choose a certain amount, with logical rationale before you start seeping into territory where it's like a little bit of, aggravation and other things take your attention off of what's logical and what's reasonable. And
Mhm.
judges, you know what I'm saying? That's I feel like I'm like you, man. It's hard to say it's the end all be all of justice, because a lot of times, man, it depends on how they're feeling that day and what time of day it is. Because it's been
Yeah, they're
statistically,
human. I mean,
they're human. It's been statistically proven. I'm sorry for sweating, y'all. I'm kind of sick right now, but it's been statistically proven that judges later on in the day, they actually make uh they actually give harsher sentences later on in the day, like after 12, because it's like that decision making has been depleted over time, and it's definitely something that needs to be
it's a
looked at.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as justice.
Yeah. Maybe like a rotate. Maybe there should be like a judge in the morning and then an afternoon judge who's like comes in fresh. And both
Yeah,
have reviewed the evidence. both have both have had a chance to at least look over, like the afternoon judge will have had a chance to at least see video footage of what's happened before then, maybe the day before or something like that, and just kind of come in with a fresh mindset. But that's that's has things that have to be worked out, of course. And so that just thinking about that, speaking of values, that brings me back to my first initial topic that I discussed, men approaching 30. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and Jerry, Trey. I was talking to a friend of mine. By the way, go to www.treybuildsweb.com. Get your website developed for real. I'm telling you,
yeah, excellent websites. I've seen
amazing. Like he is
one of the best.
top. Yes, he's one of the best. You all check him out. Again, that's www.treybuildsweb.com. He's not paying me to say that. I'm just doing it because the work is fire. If you want to see some of his work, go to my website. But um, we were talking about how we as a group are so far removed as men from where we were when we originally met. So you go through growth in life anyway. But when we met, we were about 19, 18, 19 years old in college, just goofing off, just playing around, not paying attention to much, being stupid, just chasing women. Well, speaking of me personally, chasing women, I was doing things that I I had freedom. That was my first taste of freedom, so I was just being crazy, man. Um, and the crazy thing is, I didn't care. I was pretty ignorant to the world back then. I was experiencing that college life, but that's not, it's a microcosm of the real world. It's a small little piece. So I didn't know really what was what. I was kind of figuring myself out at that point. And that was even before I got introduced to personal development at the age of 22, or seriously introduced to it. I've been introduced, but seriously dove into it. And even then, all through my 20s, I was still growing, making mistakes, and I still make mistakes now, but it was, I tried to rush success. I was very reactive. Like I remember getting so mad one time. My wife thought I had a disorder. Literally, she was like, "I think you have like a serious disorder because you got so mad at this small thing that happened." I was a pornography addict. So many different things were just, I. It was crazy how different it was back then to now. So me and Trey were talking, and he's my age. So I'm 33, he's 33. And I remember a few years ago when J. Cole's album 2014 Forest Hills Drive came out, he did an interview, I think, with Angie Martinez. Shout out J. Cole. He did an interview with Angie Martinez, and he said that a guy approached him at like the US Open or something. He was at like a 10, I don't know what he was doing there. But a guy approached him, and the guy was talking to J. Cole, and he was like, "Yeah, man, everything's going well, man. How you been doing?" J. Cole was talking like, "Yeah, man, I've just been having this, I don't know, I just feel a shift inside me just for the better as far as my mentality and the way I approach things, the way I think through things." And the guy asked J. Cole, "Well, how old are you?" And J. Cole said, "Oh, I'm 29, about to turn 30." And the guy said, "Oh, that makes sense." So that kind of prompted J. Cole to bring up in the interview, there's something about guys turning 30 that there's like a shift, 30 and beyond. There's a shift there. I don't know what that shift is, but I can honestly say from personal experience, and of course, talking to my friend Trey and just seeing some of my friends that I literally grew up through adulthood with. I mean, we got people that are like fit. They're instructing gym classes. We have successful business owners. We got people closing 5-figure deals. I kid you not. I kid you not. 5-figure deals. I've seen the work. I'm telling you. Um, you got me. I've come from being completely addicted to pornography, just out of my mind, just chasing women, trying everything under the sun, substances, all kinds of things like that, all the way to where I am now. I've gone through coaching programs. I've got a family now. I have 2 children. I'm married. Been married almost a decade. Like it's so. I have my own business, and I'm literally a paid professional speaker. I have a lot going for me that had to be built up over the years. And I was wondering, Jared, with your age, because how old are you again? I have
Right.
to ask. Y'all know he's my brother. I have to ask because I have a bunch of brothers. So, how old are you?
28. 28.
So he's 28. So, Jared, have you found, do you kind of feel a shift, or have you felt a shift recently in your mindset? And I know, of course, you're always going to feel shifts in your mindset as you grow. But I think there's a big shift that occurs. And again, I don't know what it is. It's not research based. It's literally based on what people have told me and my own experience. So don't say, "Where's the study, Jay? Where's the study?" I don't have a study. Okay. Go ahead. So where's your scientific? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have it. So, but go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's definitely been a shift. I've seen a shift in my mindset, absolutely. And I can't say it's as much about age for me as it is about kids, about
Okay.
having kids, and just wanting to be my best self for them. But there's definitely been a shift, and it's been a gradual shift for me. And I have my moments, I have my epiphanies for sure, where I'm like, okay, this is something that I just cannot accept anymore out of myself. And I'm not, it's not okay to give 75% anymore when it comes to this and this. And those type of moments have happened more frequently since I've gotten older. And I've started to get to that point where I'm like, okay, I know I demand more out of myself as a 28-year old. I'm not 18 anymore. I can't make those same mistakes that I made at 18 and say, well, that's a mistake. Oh, you're just an idiot at some point. So, being 28, I'm like, okay, it's time to do better. And I'm definitely at that point now where I'm starting to shift my mentality to like, okay, I know I can prevent myself from going that path and stuff. It's almost like it's almost like my younger self, my 19 and 20-year-old self was a child, which I was, and I still am a child in some sense, because I'm always learning. But 28-year-old year can look at 18, 19-year-old year and those parts of myself and like actually like raise myself as I go, if that makes sense. And I can like raise those parts to my best self, if that makes any sense to y'all. And like it's a constant struggle always to be better. But I definitely think as you get older, as I've gotten older, as I've had kids, my attention span is always focused on what can I do to improve and mentally strive to be 100% in whatever I do. You know what I'm saying? And that's a direct correlation to my age. And my attention is always
So,
fully focused on that. Yeah.
so Jared, what do you think? What are some things that, like our listeners, what do you think something is that they can do to, so when they start having these epiphanies, you say yours was based on you having kids. I say mine was based on age, and a lot of guys I've talked to who are 30 or above have stated something similar. Um, Whatever the reason for the shift, what are some ways you can apply this information? So if let's say I'm a guy, I'm a listener, and I agree with you, I'm feeling that shift. Like I got a kid coming, and I'm feeling that shift already. I want to be better. I want to do better. How do I do better with
Well,
what I'm feeling? What are some
well,
practical things I can do when I get off this podcast and go out into the world, continue on with my life?
Well, number one, I would say always look for the experts. And just one, my personal opinion as somebody who would give advice, my advice would be to go look for advice from somebody that you feel is an expert in that field. Because
Yep.
whatever somebody's an expert in, there's something called first principles, and it's an Elon Musk ideology, first principles. You can reverse engineer
Shout
the
out Elon
mind.
Musk. Shout out to Twitter.
Shout out.
44 Bs. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Crazy, crazy. And it's crazy because oh yeah, you could like reverse engineer anything, and you can look at what did they do to get there, and look at what they did last, and do it first. And Justin, that's akin to the album you did, Induction. I mean, that actually alludes to that because you made an album basically, and I'll let you explain it. But that was perfect when it comes to that because it's all about starting at the end to be the beginning. And I'll let you explain what that album was and stuff, like kind of that concept.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, first of all, he said my government name. My government name is Justin. Uh, and I did put out an album a few years ago called Induction, and the whole premise of Induction, it was my first album, and it was speaking on the induction into the Hall of Fame, which is typically something that happens at the end of someone's career, but I put it at the beginning. Why? Because I wanted to say begin with the end in mind. So we're going to start with that vision of knowing that we're going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, or that I was going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. So whatever that may be for rapping. So it was a hip hop project, great project. Check, you can look it up. Obviously, I don't promote it or anything,
It's
but
on SoundCloud. It's on
yeah, it's on
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. Check it out if
Amazing
you
music.
want to. So it was my first project. I put out another one since then called Quarantine Quarterpack, which is, you know, something I put out during the quarantine. We all had our quarantine projects. Uh,
Concept of that album is perfect for the example of real life of what people should do. You go find experts, take your attention, go to the experts, use that attention to focus on what do they do and reverse engineer. Look at the
their
beginning
endpoint.
with the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's all about knowing where you're going and looking for people who are proven, not that fake, not maybe. It's not a maybe. There are people. Whatever your epiphany is, whatever your mindset shift is, there are people that had that same shift and are doing what you're trying to do, and they did it. Look for those people and follow their steps. Reverse it.
for sure. That's good. Anything else? So look for the experts.
Look
What's
for the
something else?
experts. Get around people that, and I know we touched on this last week. Find friends and people with like minds that are willing to go the extra mile with you, that are pushing themselves. Because if you find somebody that pushes themselves, and if you find somebody that's shooting for the stars, then you'll land on the moon, and they will too. But if you find people who are shooting for the moon, then they'll land right back on Earth. So I always find people that are shooting for the stars, and you can always. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to land on the moon, but you don't never want to come back to Earth and just be regular when you know you got more inside you, when you know you're a star. So that's where having other people, that's like my brother, me and him, we decided to do this podcast because we have the like mind, the ambition to be better and greater and always want more for ourselves and our family. That's the way you have to look at friendships. It's not always, about like, let's just have fun and things. No, we got to get it, man. We're getting up in age, and for our young listeners, for our older listeners, just remember, it's important to have the right people around you. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and just to add a third principle to that, what you can do with that energy is study yourself. So, you're you are the expert on you at the end of the day. Because when you do go to those experts, what they're going to do is they're going to, well, an expert who's put together a process like a course or something like that, they're going to tell you the system they use to get to their end goal. So, of course, obviously, yes, you want to follow their system, but always keep in mind that there's no way that every single part of every single expert system will be applicable to you. So let me give you an example. So let's say you want to get stronger physically. You go to get a personal trainer, and the personal trainer is like, hey, you got to work out 5 times a day, getting up at 5 a.m. That's what I did. That's exactly what I did. Here's the workouts, go for it. And you say in your mind, oh, this is an expert. I'm going to do what they say. So you get up
Sign
the
up.
next day at 5 a.m. The problem is you have a 6-month-old son. He woke up at 4. So he crying, he waking up. You're like, oh man, I gotta get up, take care of him, go back to bed. You gotta get up at 5. You still gonna work out? You still gonna follow that system? You still gonna go do that workout?
You can feel
You still gonna
guilty
do
from
that?
that too. You can feel
So
guilty from that.
you feel guilt. You feel like, oh man, I ain't got it in me. I'm not gonna do whatever it takes to be successful. That's stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid as a listener. I'm saying that is stupid. That way of thinking. You're not lazy. You're not you're not losing momentum. What's happening is you're applying a system, a specific part of a system of somebody who is not in your same circumstances, which you're it makes sense you're applying what they said. That's great. But they're not in your circumstances. They may not have children, or maybe their children are older. So they can get up at 5 every day because they know they can go to bed at a certain time. And that's fine. Everyone's different. So how would you apply that to your life? Look at your life and think, how can I apply what they're saying, that same thing, to my life? How can I apply it in my life? So an example might be, hey, instead of working out at 5 in the morning every day, get in the same workouts. Maybe you might have to work out after work. Maybe that's too late in the evening for you. Maybe you're going to have to work out another time. Maybe do a shorter workout. Maybe ask for alternative workouts that can get the same results or similar results for you. So
And that's
that's my
that's where the
thing. Study
uniqueness comes
yourself.
into play. Yeah.
You study yourself and take listen to the experts. as Jared said, but make sure when you're applying their stuff, you apply it in a way that's good for you and your circumstances. I've 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 done it. I'm telling you. My early 20s, when I got into personal development, y'all, I was following every book, every principle. And my wife will tell you, I had breakdowns a lot. I would cry. I'm wondering why I'm not successful. Why can't I, like, why can't I make this sale when I was in direct sales? Like, why can't I do it? Trying to apply their system, their steps, which is the right thing to do, but trying to apply it in the wrong way. Trying to apply it as a no matter what when it's a flexible thing. So go ahead, Jared.
And the reason that he broke down and that you probably will too, trying to do things verbatim, is because you're not loving the process. And 50% or 75% a lot of times of what you're trying to accomplish is just enjoying yourself while you're doing it. And I don't mean like you're just gonna be smiling and happy all the time. What I mean is if you have to get up and run, if you have to go work out, understanding that this is a means to an end, and that when I'm working out at this time, it's gonna help me, and I can take this throughout my day and feel comfortable and calm under pressure because I know I can show up in those situations. And it's all about just having that attitude of greatness, the attitude of greatness, the attention of greatness. Like, are you attentive to greatness at all times? Are you taking control of the second and putting it to use, making that second work for you, right? And in the right circumstances, in the right ways, and just having that attention, that attention to detail of, hey, I know that I have to enjoy the process, and that is where a lot of people go wrong. We have to have attention to our emotional intelligence, to be honest, at all times, especially in those times when we're doing something that we want to get better at. Have that attention to detail because that's a habit too. Practicing your EQ in those moments, where you feel down and where you feel, or you feel like I'm going against something that, I'm running up a hill. That's where your EQ comes into play and recognizing that habit building, you know.
Yeah, I think I want to make this a little more practical for people, for you all, my listeners, our listeners. What do we mean by study yourself? Well, let's start with find the experts. So Jared can probably talk on this a little more, but specifically, what do you do to look for the experts? Well, what you do is you open your laptop or your phone and you think to yourself, what is something that I want to work on? It could be your physique, it could be your nutrition, it could be selling, like a skill or something, selling, carpentry, I don't care, martial arts, your marriage, your sex life, porn addiction, that's something I have to work on, whatever it might be. And I want you to find, let's say it's your marriage. You get online and find a marriage expert or a marriage couple that does retreats or have a book or something like that. Look at their, you don't have to buy something from them right off the bat. Just look at their, if you think they look legit, look at their YouTube content, their free stuff. Look at it. See if that helps you. See if you can learn some insights from them. And then if you want, invest and go to a class or whatever it might be. That is how you go to the experts. That is how you get those steps to even begin to apply them. And then to study yourself, this has to do with two things. Number one, you need to take some type of assessment or multiple assessments. I don't care who you are, you should, everyone should do some type of assessment. I don't care if it's a free write where you write on paper about yourself, all your positives and negatives that you see about yourself. That's fine. That's free of charge. You do it. I don't care if you take a disc assessment, a Myers Briggs, a Big Five. I don't give a dang. Whatever you do, you must self assess. You've got to look at yourself and find out. I like assessments, you all, because they're objective. They're just based on how you answer the questions. They're not a person like, oh, well, I feel like, it's not feel, it's how you answer the questions. Question five, you put this. So, I mean, that's why I like them. Get those results and study those results. If it says you're a reserved person, but you're really good at numbers, that's fine. If you're outgoing, gregarious, life of the party type person, that's fine. If you're quiet, you don't even want to be around people at all, but you're really, really skilled with your hands, that's fine. Whatever your results, don't worry about trying to be like anyone else. Your results are okay. That's fine. Look at them and just say, that's okay. And live your life. Start looking at things as they relate to you. How does it make you feel? What do you value? Does this fit your personality? Because we enter this world alone and then we're going to leave this world alone. So remember that. Remember that. So first thing you do, assessment. The second thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, I've kind of already mentioned it, but you're going to want to accept yourself. Now, I'm not saying like a metaphorical, mythical, like a cloud of love around yourself. I'm not saying that. Self-love is great, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something practical. Accept yourself, and by saying, looking at your personality, your life, and being grateful for what you do actually have. Be accepting of yourself. Okay. It's okay to not be where you want to be yet. It's okay to have an addiction right now if you're aware of it. It's okay. I'm not saying it's okay to stay there. I'm not saying it's okay to live in that, but it's understandable. We're all human. It's okay to be a great person, be nice, to make a lot of money. All of it's okay. It's just what you want to do with it after the fact. You want to accept that and then begin to move forward. Okay, so first thing you want to do when it comes to specifically studying yourself is you want to take some type of assessment, even if that's writing down, your positive and negative qualities, and then you're going to want to accept yourself, however you are, accept yourself, and that'll help determine a lot of how you apply those things you learn from going to the experts. So, um, but yeah, man, some good stuff, some great points. So you all want to get some announcements. So uh we have any learning and development professionals as our listeners. Any of you all are trainers, facilitators, man, please check out the download by Torrance Learning. It's a free event. I'll be speaking there. I'll be talking about the 7 ways to increase engagement in a virtual setting, to increase learner engagement in a virtual setting. I'll be speaking there. So that'll be May 13th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll make sure and put the link to register for this free class into the show notes for you all. Of course, if you want to bring me in to speak to your group, to train your group, to facilitate, I can do keynote, whatever you need in regard to engagement, learner engagement, I am there. So www.jbryanspeaks.com. Again, that's www.jaybryanspeaks.com. One more time, that's www.jbryanspeaks.com. And anything, Jared, on Magnolia Lawn Solutions? What's been going on?
Same old, man. I'm just we're still building it. We're getting everything straight, but no announcements this week.
Okay, cool. What's the website?
The
Always
website is
plug the website.
www.magnolialawnms.com. Magnolialawnms.com.
And he is in Central Mississippi, by the way, you all. So my
Yes.
listeners, if you're in Central Mississippi or you have relatives there, like Jackson area, Pearl, Mississippi, Byram, uh, anything like that,
Clinton.
hit them up. Clinton, hit them up. They do great work. I've seen the pictures. I don't live down there, so I haven't had my services by them. But if I did, I would definitely sign up for the services. So, um, but anyway, you all, that's all we got for this episode, man. Again, I'm Jay Bryan,
Here in Washington.
and this has been the Attention Span Podcast. Y'all have a great one. Peace.